There you go. I'm glad. I'm glad. Okay, so Fred said, where is it? People who struggle from fatigue, struggling with switching off, letting go, and getting rest that actually restores them. Okay. So people who suffer from fatigue. Is this their kind of the wired and tired situation, Fred?
How do you mean, bud?
Well, because I hear two different things. They're fatigued, they're tired, but they can't switch off, which means they're not tired. They're on.
I don't think those two things have to be mutually exclusive.
But that's what I know.
Hmm.
But so wired and tired is a phrase I've heard for that.
Okay.
Wired, but you're also tired. Foot's on the gas, but there's nothing in the tank anymore.
Hmm.
You know that. So I'm just wondering if I'm understanding that correctly.
Sure. Yes. So this is part of a shift in niche. Thanks to PJ looking for
Mm.
people who experience the fatigue, know that they don't get either they know they need a rest or they don't get a choice anymore. They're going to have to rest. If only there was something they could do for 30 minutes, an hour or so, that would help them not be in their body, not deal with the nonsense. Um, yeah, get a little comfort and rest, something restorative out of it.
So
Hmm.
they're um, they're exhausted because they can't switch off. Is that it?
No, I mean it might that might be a part of it, but the a chunk of it would be people with things like chronic fatigue, ME, CFS.
Mm.
Um,
Ah,
I'm hoping to include in this some measure of people who don't have some kind of diagnosis or have the extremes of it, but still have these moments where they have to rest.
now, so I don't. What are they trying to switch off exactly?
Ah, a racing mind.
But then you said they don't. You give them 30 minutes where they're not in their body.
Hmm. Is there a question in there?
Yeah, I mean, where do they go if they're not in their body?
Where do any of us go when we're not in our body? It could be, it could be, it could be like if you've been reading a really good book. There's a common example. And just come back that you're not in your body for lots of it. A great movie, not there
Right.
for lots of it. Listening to somebody tell you a great story, again, not there for
Why
lots of it.
why would
Often
these
music.
particular people not want to be in their body?
So it can be remarkably uncomfortable in one's own body if there is pain associated with the fatigue, like in fibromyalgia. The part of it, they might be tired because they happen to have a great deal of pain. Um, there's also dizziness, nausea, a general nervous swirliness, yucky sensations, um, other things.
Mhm. So okay, so I just think there's some honing here because you can hear I'm sort of grasping for clarity.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you said chronic fatigue, ME, fibromyalgia, it's like aha. But that's the confusion is like wait, you're switching off their mind, but then also getting out of their body, so they're not in their body or their mind either. Or
Mm.
you see, and so I'm like, wait, where are they going? What's happening? And why do they want to get out of their mind? Why do they want to get out of their body? Because it's two different. It's not again mutually exclusive, but a racing mind and a sore body. Those are two different island A's. Those are two different experiences that don't inherently go together. Now, if you're wanting to work with people who are both
Mm-hmm.
got a racing mind and a sore body, then that might be good to name. But being this is also just for everyone so who suffer from fatigue. Well, fatigue isn't anything you suffer from. I mean, fatigue is wonderful. You know that it's fatigue is that experience, right? You're really tired right before you go to bed. Oh man, I'm so fatigued. That's wonderful. So it's not inherently bad, but there's some situation uh, in which it is bad. There's some adjectives to add to that fatigue, some situations to contextualize it in, within which it's a problem. Fatigue is not a problem. Fatigue is just a situation. Now, if it's chronic fatigue, like you're always tired, but again, that feels different to me from. So we've got three different problems here. One, you're just always tired. You got no get up and go. You got to
Mm.
just sit down and rest, fairly often. Um, and even within that, you could divide that into two. One is there's sort of tired, like yawning, I'm sleepy, tired. And then there's my body is fatigued. Like my friend James, he's got, I don't even know what it is. Doctors haven't been able to diagnose it, but he just can't walk very far. He just has to sit down and rest. His mind is fine, but his body is weak. And so there's two different kinds of fatigue. So that's one thing, it's just tired. Then second is a racing mind. And third is my body is in pain in some way. There's some sort of deep discomfort in my body, and I'd like distraction from that. So three different island A's potentially. So if it's before, and you can see there's different island B's with all of them.
Stop. Hilarious. This is good stuff, Dad, really. I'm so far down the hole now. I have no idea how we're getting back. Please carry on.
Right. It hurts so good. I know it hurts so good. So if it's I'm sleepy tired, but I can't seem to get restorative rest, that there's that island A and B. Then there's my body is fatigued. But then I'm wondering what the island B is. If it's just my body, I just need to sit down a lot. Okay, well, what is it that you offer them? If it's their body is in pain, then I could understand the experience of just getting out of your body and not sitting in that discomfort all the time could be a huge relief. And if it's a racing mind, then a sort of a still mind would be the obvious island B. So, yeah.
So I think from what you described there, so if I just use the phrase chronic fatigue, then the rest of them are symptoms that go along with it. And since this is just me working on one niche, one landing page, one target market for this particular offer, well, the offer was applicable to loads, but for this particular approach, then if I just said chronic fatigue, would that help? Is everything okay? So that would then make it people suffering from chronic fatigue. And is that then the target market,
Yeah.
or does it go with switching off, letting go? So just people struggling with chronic fatigue.
Period.
Okay.
I mean, if you
Right.
now there's four levels again of a target market. So there's the issue, which is the main thing. If you get that, you don't need the rest, though the rest can help from a filtering perspective. But unless you get that, you don't have anything for a service-based business. The next ring out is the psychographic. So that can be helpful. What type of people do you want to work with? Great, you got a stadium full of 60,000 people with chronic fatigue, but you're not going to like all of them. It's not always going to be a fit. You're not going to have the same politics, the same spiritual beliefs. So there can be that honing, which is helpful for finding hubs. Then there's the demographics. Men, women, rich, poor, which ethnicity, and you could go that as a filter. Then there are the qualities. They're nice people. They're kind. Whatever, new agey people, although I guess that'd be more psychographics. But just so for everyone, what Fred just demonstrated is like if you have an issue, sometimes you don't even need the rest. He might want to add some things helpful, but boy, if you just have that, and then this is one of those things where you start to add in the other elements of the target market. It's like, it's chronic, kind of dealing with chronic fatigue through hypnotherapy. And this is the overlap. And people are like, oh, that's interesting. I've never heard about that as an approach for this. And so that the two of those, you get a little overlap in the Venn, and that becomes unique in the marketplace. Because people might say, yeah, I've tried these other things and it hasn't really helped. Yeah, I'll give hypnosis a whirl. I'll give that sounds interesting. And there's much more relevance because of the issue. It's the important thing is that they self-identify with whatever you say. They've got to be able to hear it and say, that's me. not, oh, that's great that you're doing that for those people. Yeah. Does that help at all, Fred?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
And certainly
Well,
like that and everything else you said that followed along with it is yeah, gold as ever. Cheers, Ted.
you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm sorry, everybody. I mean, this is my way of loving you all, is being hard on it here, so it's not, you don't get slayed out there or ignored. It's just so painful. You put out something and you just so hopeful, and then no response. And I just want to save you that.